Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So here I'm just showing you guys I've sculpted out a thin clear acrylic base on my Glamerliz practice hand. This was my first time sculpting on the hand, and plus I don't really sculpt too often, but I was quite impressed with how these turned out. I do also have a discount code for Glamerliz, which I will leave linked in the description box below, along with all the products I use, so please do check that out. Onto the design, I couldn't decide if I wanted to do black or gold or nude and gold, so I went with a bit of both, and I was really impressed with how this set looked, so I really hope you guys enjoy watching the video. I've placed CJP Vanilla Shine down at the cuticle area, and I'm just fading that out towards the free edge, and then I'm coming in with this beautiful gold glitter at the tip. Now I'm not 100% sure where this is from, unfortunately, but if I do find out I will leave it linked in the description box below. It was just in a pot in my drawer with no name on it. And I'm just going to create a bit of a glitter fade, so I'm fading out the back of that and then just making sure to tap and move around the chunkier pieces that are in the mix until I'm happy with how they're all placed. And then just come in with a bit more glitter because I wanted it to be full on glitter, sparkly. The sort of inspiration behind this set was a set of nails for New Year's Eve, so I wanted them to look super pretty. Then once I'm happy with how that glitter is placed, I'm going to come in with these flakes from CJP, and I really liked how these looked on the nail because they're a different tone of gold to the glitter. So once I capped and top coated, I really liked how it reflected in the light. And these flakes were quite large that I picked up, so I'm just using my brush to sort of break them up a little bit and nudge them around. And then once I'm happy with how they're all placed, I'll leave that to set before capping in clear at the end. Onto the ring finger, and I'm going to be doing a black fade with that same vanilla shine that I used at the cuticle area on the little finger. I'm not 100% sure what this black is called. It's from CJP, so I'll double check and leave it below. But I'm basically really painting this on because I haven't used black acrylic in ages and I was really worried about working with it for some reason. So I've blended out the back of the bead, and then I'm literally just painting on and building up the colour until I'm happy with the coverage. I did faff around a little bit with this nail, but I got the hang of it by the next nail because I do also do a black and gold fade on that nail too. So as you can see, I'm literally painting it on, keeping it as thin as I possibly can and just building up the colour. I wasn't quite sure how the vanilla shine was going to ombre over this, so I thought if I kept it thin, that if I needed to, I could come in with more black acrylic after applying the vanilla shine, but luckily I didn't need to. So once I've finished faffing around with that, I do leave that to set and move on to the next nail because I like to make sure when I'm doing an ombre that the first colour is completely set before coming in with the next one. So I'm doing exactly the same on this finger. It just went a whole lot more smoothly as I wasn't as scared of using the black acrylic. But again, I'm keeping it as thin as I can and not adding any bulk with that colour, making sure to blend out the back of the bead, even though I was going to be fading glitter over the top because it's quite pigmented. I just wanted to make sure that that was blended out. And then again, just painting that colour on. Make sure that the black does not touch any of the skin, or in this case the silicone, because it will stain. Onto the pointer finger, and it's just going to be a full black nail. Now this black from CJP is a strength powder, so you can build the entire nail with it if you want to, but I decided I would just do a thin black layer and then capping clear at the end because I was going to be capping all of the other nails anyway. When it comes to the cuticle bead, I'm making sure to really point that finger down, and I worked with quite a small bead of acrylic, so I placed it down and I'm pushing it up towards the cuticle area and then pulling it down the sides, really making sure to keep it away from what would be the skin. And then because I'd worked with quite a small bead, it didn't look fully opaque, if that makes sense. So I just come in with another small bead to build up that coverage. And as you can see, I did actually touch the silicone ever so slightly, so I quickly tried to remove that. Always happens when you're working with the dark colours. So now I'm going to move back to that ombre now because the black has set. So I'm coming in with a Vanilla Shine and placing it down, blending out the back of the bead and then pulling it down over the black. Now, as you can see, this colour is so shimmery that it took over a little bit more than what I wanted it to. So I'm just going to use my brush with some monomer on it just to clean away any of that excess glitter basically, or acrylic, sorry. But I really was pleased with how this nail turned out. I'd imagine a black and nude nail to be super hard. So by using a nude acrylic with a shimmer, it made it that little bit easier. So then I'm going to come in with my cuticle bead, placing that down at the cuticle area, nudging it up into place, and then I'm going to pull the top of that bead down over the previous bead, keeping my brush nice and wet so I can really blend it out and down over that black. And this was why I kept my black as thin as possible, so that if I did need to come in with more black to perfect the fade, I could, but I decided not to because I was quite happy with how it looked. So here I'm just coming in with a little bit more of that Vanilla Shine just to build up the coverage so it's a little bit more opaque. I'm blending it down slightly and I just keep faffing around with it until I'm happy with how it is. Then on to the next fade, I'm going to be using that same glitter mix I used on the little finger. So I've picked up quite a small bead of clear acrylic and glitter to begin with, and I'm just really using the tip of my brush to nudge that around and get the cuticle area nice and neat because I don't have a base colour down underneath. So I'm just trying to use all those tiny pieces of glitter to perfect the cuticle area. And then I come in with a little bit more glitter to build up the coverage. But again, still just working in quite small beads because I don't want to overload the nail and add more thickness than necessary. And then I'm just going to start gently fading that glitter down over the black. And then the same as on the little finger, I'm going to come in with those flakes from CJP and just pat them in over the top of that glitter. I don't pick them up with any clear acrylic, I just pick them up with my wet brush and sort of tap them gently onto the mix. Where the acrylic in the glitter mix is still wet, they sit and stick quite easily. And then I just keep tapping them on and bringing them slightly down over the black acrylic until I'm happy with the effect. Then I went off camera, capped all of the nails in my clear acrylic to build up the strength and the structure. I filed them all into shape and then gave them a good buff with a white buffing block. Made sure to scrub away all of that dust, and then I'm going to come in with my CJP tack free top gloss and top coat the nails. So I absolutely love how this little finger turned out, and I really hope the camera picks up the way the gold tones reflect. I'd happily have a full set of that nail. I absolutely love it. So I decided at this point I wasn't 100% sure on the plain black nail. So I decided to have a little dig through my nail box and I found these little star embellishments. So what I'm doing here is I'm placing down a thin layer of this thick jewellery gel and I'm really trying to spread it out and keep it as thin as possible because I don't want to add any bulk because I just ended up adding one little embellishment. I'd usually use this a little bit thicker if I'm applying crystals or caviar beads or a crystal cluster, for example. But because I knew I was just adding these flat embellishments, I wanted to keep it as thin as possible. And then whilst that jewellery gel is still wet, I'm going over the top with my CJP top gloss. And then originally I was going to do 2 stars. So I come in first of all with this little star. I start nudging it around and then I come in with another star. And I just didn't really like how the 2 of them looked on the nail. So I ended up just leaving the one at the cuticle area. And then once I was happy with the placement of the star, I popped them in my LED lamp to cure for 60 seconds. And then guys, that's the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed watching this set. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below or please give the video a thumbs up. If you're watching and you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would absolutely love it if you did. Thank you all so much for watching and I shall see you all again soon. Bye bye.